All right, time for another episode of the Nerdy Virgin podcast. My name is Joshua Snyder. It is Monday, December 29th, 2025, nearing the end of 2025, about to enter 2026. How are we all feeling about that? I'm trying to adjust this badly. I don't know. I'm working on trying to make the setup a little bit better. I'm not in my usual outfit, feeling a little disheveled. Overall, I'm kind of in that place of, okay, here are all my goals for the new year, and thinking about the year in review, and these are my goals and these are my plans, and I'm feeling a lot of fear of death. Fear of death is kind of at the top of my mind. Got to institute these plans because we don't know how long we have. I'm freaked out. I'm in my 40s now. I'm freaked out about it because this is where I feel like this is where the health problems start to become more noticeable. This is where I'm getting over a cold. So forgive me if my throat is a bit raspy. And it wasn't one of those situations, by the way. It wasn't one of those colds where my throat, sounded sexy, like, hello, how are you this evening? This sounds more like McCloud and Highlander 2 pre-rejuvenation. Boy, that's a reference that's not going to get me that far. But I am thinking a lot more about mortality, and am I doing everything I want to do with my life? Is this podcast something that I want to be doing with my life? And then trying to focus on being more vulnerable, both on stage and off. How about that? But I've always been worried about my health. But the older I get, the more that things are being thrown my way that seem to be scary, and the doctors who talk to me about it seem nonplussed. I've talked about this before, but I have this pineal gland cyst in my brain that they're like, it'll probably be fine, 95% chance it's fine, but we do need to watch it for the next 10 years. But listen, don't worry about it. We have to keep an eye on it because sometimes sometimes these things will go south. But fine. Go about your life. It'll be totally fine. But we really should keep an eye on it. Just don't stray too far. And that's the kind of thing that begins to, I really, and I have, my dad's in town visiting, and he has friends in town visiting. They're in their 70s. And it seems like that let's just keep an eye on it thing. The doctors like to say that a lot. And what freaks me out is, how often it's the ratio of situations where let's keep an eye on it resolves into, nothing to worry about, versus, we need to go in. And that's what's freaking me out. So the keeping an eye on it really, I really wish there would be more of a resolve. But that's the thing. There is no resolve. There is a resolve. There is one, end resolve, which is the one that I'm terrified of. It's the one we're all headed to. So the real problem here, the real thing I need to do, is I need to learn to not fear death. Did I mention this is a comedy podcast? I gotta release myself from death. I've got to free myself. I probably should be doing the thing where I meditate every day, right? And get to the point where I realize that there is ultimately no distinction between myself and the rest of the universe, and that everything that I'm hanging on to is transitory and not worth worrying about. Or I could fret. I could just lie in bed at night, not sleeping and fretting. I think I seem to be going with that one. I seem to be choosing to go with that one. phenomenal. Truly, truly phenomenal. So I so I'm dealing with that. Let wait and see. Let's wait and see. I'd love to be like that with paying the medical bills. Yeah, let's I'll keep an eye on it. No, that there always seems to be a hard out on that. But I was also maybe switching to a lighter topic. I was looking at well, here I'll come right back. I normally don't. I mean, I could edit this piece out, but I was looking at and don't pay attention to anything you see in the background. I was looking at the list of TV shows that are going to be appearing in 2025, and I thought we should maybe go over some of them. I thought that I thought maybe you and I should talk about it, because there's a big long list, and there were some interesting points I wanted to make. I guess Stranger Things is doing a spin-off that's like a cartoon that will include familiar elements but not include the main characters of Stranger Things. So this is, of course, guys, whenever there's a popular thing, they got to figure out a way to keep that popular thing going, Stranger Things Deep Space Nine, is that what it's going to be called? That's a joke for those of you that were around in the 90s. And I never got into Stranger Things, and I know it's a great show. I think when it first came out, I just have this image of Winona Ryder running around going, "Where's my son? Tell me where my son is. You know where my son is, and you're not telling me. Where's my son?" And granted, there was a lot of that, and again, I'm not trying to throw shade on the delightful Winona Ryder. Not at all trying to do that. But I think really what it is that there comes a point, I don't want to watch a show about kids. I don't want to watch a show about kids. I'm not a kid. I think if I was 12, I'd be like, fellow 12-year-olds. But I'm not a kid. Didn't enjoy being a kid that much. Don't want to go back to that. Don't want to revisit that. I want to watch a show about adults. And the other thing too, as I get older and bitter, I'm starting to not like watching shows about people who are younger than I am, and that's a lot of the shows. It's a lot of the shows. 44. That's big. We're kind of getting into. We're elderly. 44 is elderly in the world of Hollywood, and the leading men, they're in their 20s, 30s. 44. Dinosaur. 44. Gross. So, all right, we got Lanterns, right? That's coming out. It's like not buddy cop. They say it's like True Detective, but it's with two Green Lanterns who are investigating a crime in the Heartland. Yes, and it's television because they're not in the Green Lantern outfits. They're in the television outfits, which is nice jacket, nice T-shirt, and jeans. That's what every superhero has to do when it's a television show. You can't put them in the superhero outfit for too long on a television show. Way too expensive. You got to go with the television superhero outfit. Jeans, nice shirt, and a good jacket. That's every superhero. But I think what I love about the superhero TV series is that that's what they're walking around in. But they're superheroes, so they're still walking around as if they are in the superhero outfit. But they're just it's like, hey, my name is Jim. I've got this jacket. What's the problem? It's all right. I'm wearing the jacket. That means I'm here, saving the day. Blade Runner 2099. So this is a sequel series to Blade Runner 2049, but I don't think any of the characters from Blade Runner 2049 are in it. Michelle Yeoh's in it. So it's just it's a sequel, but none of the characters are there, but it takes place in the world. I mean, is it really still a sequel if it's in the world, but none of the characters are there? I don't know. It's like, it's a sequel to Working Girl, and it takes place in the same firm that Working Girl takes place in, but Harrison Ford and Melanie Griffith and Sigourney Weaver, they're not reprising their character. No one, it's the same building, but different people who, there's a love triangle thing. And there's not even a love triangle. It's just different people in the same building. Is that a sequel or just, 20 years later at the office? Excited about this one. Spider Noir. Did you see this one? Nicolas Cage doing a Spider-Man, but he's this aging private investigator. I'll take that. I'll take Nicolas Cage in anything. Nicolas Cage, never not interesting, right? You give Nicolas Cage anything, and suddenly it's like, yeah, I'm there. I am there. I am there. You give him, I'm trying to think of like all those Jane Austen novels, they could use Nicolas Cage showing up. That any Jane Austen novel, have Nicolas Cage showing up going, I just, what's her deal, man? What's her deal? What is her deal? Where's my son? Nicolas Cage and Stranger Things, then I will tune in immediately. All right, so Neuromancer. So Apple TV is doing this thing where they're taking classic sci-fi books and they're turning it into highly acclaimed TV series. And I should be paying more attention. I profess to be a sci-fi nerd, and yet here I am not watching Foundation. And then this one, Neuromancer, which is a famous cyberpunk novel. Cyberpunk, that's a thing, right? It's the future, but it's a cool future. It's not cyber geek, guys. It's not a future where there's flying cars, and the polka. Cape Fear. Yeah, there's always a Cape Fear. They like to always come back to Cape Fear. That's another one. It's like another one of those things where, like, for some reason, every 15 years we'll do another Cape Fear, and people show, another Cape Fear. Oh, show up. Let's watch it. And I don't quite get it. I'm not trying to throw shade on the other Cape Fears. I never understand, how do they know that there's enough people out there that are like, you know what, I could use another Cape Fear. I could use another Cape. How was your year? Oh, we made money. The kids are doing well. Jimmy's going off to college. I'll tell you what was missing though. A Cape Fear reboot. Yeah, that was, it would have been a perfect year if not for that. Crystal Lake, prequel to Friday the 13th. We got to know the origin story of that guy, right? Got to know, we got to know what kind of cereal that guy was eating before he went nuts. Vision Quest, yeah. Maul, Shadow Lord. He really bounced back from getting split in half by Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I know they addressed in the cartoon. Darth Maul is, for those of you who may not remember, in Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan Kenobi chopped him in half, and we thought, oh, that's the end of him, and he fell down a giant shaft. Chopped him in half, fell down a giant shaft, somehow came back from it, bounced back rather with a splash of debonair, dare I say. And now this is this is going to be in between when he was defeated in Clone Wars and his final death in Star Wars Rebels. Is it his final death? I mean, I saw when in Star Wars Rebels Obi-Wan Kenobi defeats him again, but I'm like, okay, that wasn't nearly as bad as chopping him in half. Are we sure this is the final death? I don't think there's a final death. I think he's going to come back. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Maul. All right, we're going to be seeing a lot of Maul. Maul is going to be happening. He's going to be running around going, where's my son? That I'm pushing the callback too far there, aren't I? The Boys from Brazil. That was an interesting, I think it was originally, yeah, it was a novel. Then it was a movie with Olivier, and they're trying to clone Hitler. That's what this one is. They're trying to clone Hitler. And they got to stop them from cloning Hitler. We got to stop that. We cannot have that. We cannot have these Hitler clones running around. By the way, I don't think that's going to be quite the tone. I don't think the main character of this version of Broy. Well, we can't have those Hitler clones running around. You telling me there's Hitler clones running around? Get the car, pull the car around. We got to stop this. We got to put an end to this. The Punisher, special presentation. I think I've talked about this before. I'm not a huge Punisher fan. You know what? Here's the thing. I think what bothers me is the use of weapons, the use of firearms. I think bothers me, and it takes me back. That's why Batman is one of my favorite characters. He's not going to use a gun. He's not going to use a gun. He's going to have to work a lot harder to fight the bad guys because he has to throw things that are not easy to throw. He's going to have to use ropes that would take the normal person 9 or 10 times to get the rope over the thing, to climb up, to go behind the guy. But I appreciate the extra effort that he puts in. Granted, I suppose in the real world, one might be more effective than the other, but that's the joy of comic books. It's the world of fantasy, where we can live in a world where someone can save the day without weapons, without firearms. He can save the day with a rope that still goes through the guy's leg and probably causes a lot of bodily injury, but it's not a firearm. And by the way, I'm not the first one to make that gripe about, Batman. He doesn't kill, but boy, he comes close. But still, I mean, we're never going to see it, but there's got to be that time where Batman throws the batarang and he misses. And he's like, today was the day. It was going to happen sooner or later, but today was the day I missed, and now I look like a schmuck. Okay, good. Another TV series version of Carrie. We gotta, again, Young Sherlock, a lot of prequels. Vought Rising, a lot of prequels. Because they always work, right? Prequels always work. I feel like they never work, and yet here we are. Lord of the Flies. Oh, good. It's not a year of television without a version of Lord of the Flies. That's fun. Bunch of boys on the island, and it's a metaphor for how society is crumbling. I'll tell you something. I had no idea that society was crumbling, so I'm glad the show is coming around because I've been so in the dark on how everything's falling apart. Seth MacFarlane producing The Burbs. I'm kind of excited about this because that'll be fun. I'm excited about that one. All right, I think have I covered everything? There's a lot more shows and that's the creepy thing. How many of these cancel after the first season? Cancel after the first episode. There's so many. How are there so many TV shows and no one is shooting anything in Los Angeles? I do not understand this. Well, yeah, what am I saying? They're shooting it in everywhere but Los Angeles. Pride and Prejudice. See, that's where we got to put. That's where we got to put Nicolas Cage. How did I get to England? What's going on? Something. I'm freaking out, man. I'm freaking out. Oh my God! Now we've got a Pride and Prejudice that I would want to see. By the way, it's so funny on this particular article. Each show has like a little blurb. I get to the one on Star Trek Starfleet Academy, and then they're like, why this premise? A Discovery-era series following the first new class of Starfleet cadets in over a century isn't exciting on paper. I feel like all the other descriptions of TV series, whoever was writing this is kind of neutral. This is what it is, but this one's just going right out there. What? Not a fan of this. There's been some Star Trek Discovery blowback. People are like, Starfleet Academy blowback. I did that thing. I did that old man thing where I mistook one word for another. I am so sorry. Oh God, I'm getting old. Is it Alzheimer's? Is it dementia? I'm freaking out. Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. People are freaking out about this show because they're like, oh, it's 90210 in space. It's 90210 in space. Let's give the show a chance, okay? Let's take a breath. Let's give the show a chance. You got Holly Hunter. We've got Paul Giamatti in there as major supporting characters. It's going to be fine. Inevitably, they're going to release the series, and people are going to go, oh, everyone wants Paul Giamatti and Holly Hunter, so they'll probably put them more front and center, put the kids maybe in the background. That's the worst case scenario that could happen. this show might pull off. It might pull off. Let's try to be positive in the beginning here before we slash it. All right? Let's not. All right, then there's a list of a bunch of other shows. And I feel like, here's the thing with this podcast. I'm still getting used to this. I feel like I might be getting to the point here where I'm wearing out my welcome. And I don't want to do that. I really don't. I feel like this feels like a good natural ending point, okay? Let's try to be positive. Let's only rip the show apart after it comes out and we get verified proof that it's a disaster. But let's not prejudge. Let's not prejudge. Where's my son? All right, that's good. Traveled back in time to the 20th century. We have to be careful to... My God, these people have warp cores on the fronts of their buildings. Those aren't warp cores, those are just neon signs. But they look exactly like our warp core. Yes, it's a cosmic coincidence that the matter-antimatter reactions inside our warp core look exactly like those neon signs. And what about that? That has to be a warp core. That's a barber shop. It's so confusing here. Transition. They're sending an ambassador-class starship to help us. Really? What's your problem with the ambassador class? We're under attack. You don't send a ship called the ambassador class to help with a wartime situation. It's a very capable ship. Do you know why they called it the ambassador class? Probably had something to do with the fact that it was designed to go and talk to people. That's not a ship you want. We don't want the ship that talks to people. We want the ship that blows things up. They need like a Marine class or a soldier class. At this point, I would take a frustrated mother of two at the supermarket class. My Batmobile is complete, Alfred. So I noticed you put a jet engine in the back of it. It'll make it go fast. So I hope you are aware that you're fighting crime in a concentrated city with very small streets and a lot of corners. I put little ropes that I can shoot at the poles, and then that way the car will go like around it'll swing around the pole. Well, I had better learn metal triage then. The captain's been injured. We need to get a doctor to the bridge. Do we? I feel like all they do is take a wand thing and wave it over the area that's injured and then it just fixes it. That is not at all. That is an oversimplification of what the doctors do on this ship. Okay, I'm taking the wand. I'm waving it over his head right now. Oh, I feel so much better. Thank you. Yeah, I just waved this wand thing over your head. You're the acting ship's physician. No, I don't think we... guys, why didn't you tell me you were a doctor? I'm not a... Transition. So O'Brien's daughter got sucked into this time portal and she spent 10 years in this nature environment and then came back as a feral child, and it was very trying on the family. Yeah. But what happened to the portal? I don't know, I guess they just left it there? I think you've all buried the lead. They found a portal that makes you travel through time that works, and you just left it there? Well, the O'Briens have been through a lot already, and why don't you go back and make sure that the portal, doesn't fall into the wrong hands like it always does? Yeah, I'll do that, but first, we all need to make sure that Worf feels confident that he can be a good father. Did you guys fall through a portal where the priorities are just suddenly different now? It was a disaster, Alfred. What happened, Master Wayne? I got out of the Batmobile. It was very dramatic. But then the auto door thing didn't close. You had to manually shut the door of the Batmobile. It totally ruined it. The bad guys don't take me seriously if they know that I have to shut the doors to cars. Sir, has it occurred to you that they may have never taken you seriously? The villains are terrorized by me. Yes, sir. So terrorized that they keep trying to take over Gotham City. Can you imagine what it would be like if I weren't here? I dare say it would be awful either way. I will not have nihilism in this Batcave. The irony of you saying that to me is really slapping me in the face. Transition. You're Raiden from Mortal Kombat, right? Don't ask me to jump your car. I'm not, no. I just saying, hey, saying what's up. I don't jump people's cars. Furthest thing from my mind. Don't ask me to find Shang Tsung, to steal my powers, to jump your car. That was not at all going to be the very next question I was going to ask.
Transition.
She's perfect. We get along great. That means she's a changeling. What are you talking about? Do you constantly ask her every day if something on your body looks like it might be fatal? Of course. Have you gone on and on and on about your gripes relating to the Dreadnought class of Galaxy-class starships? On a semi-daily basis. Changeling infiltrator. You're probably right, but I'd like to be in denial about this for a few more days. Have fun with that.
Transition.
Martian Manhunter actually has 2 weaknesses. Well, I know he has a problem with fire. What's the second weakness? An irrational fear of multi-camera sitcoms. So basically any sitcom with a live studio audience. Yeah, he's fine with shows like The Office and Parks and Rec, but one episode of Frasier and he literally melts. Well, that's a shame. There's a lot of high-quality multi-cam sitcoms that he can't watch. I don't know what it is. He just can't process the idea of other people laughing who are not actually in the room with him. So is that how Batman plans to take him out in case he goes rogue? He's going to bombard him with several episodes of Coach at the same time.
Transition.
I was thinking of taking her to the Arboretum. Don't take her to the Arboretum. What's wrong with the Arboretum? It's surprisingly tiny and not that great. This is a Galaxy-class starship. You mean to tell me that their Arboretum is terrible? It's like 3 ferns in a pond. Well, what kind of pond? A small, sad, shallow pond. I've heard good things about that pond. From who? Worf? You think Worf is the expert on ponds? A warrior can be an expert on ponds.
Transition.
I was in the Defiant mess hall, and those tables are obviously outdoor furniture. The Defiant was not designed for comfort, it was designed for combat. I'm eating on a picnic table. Federation picnic tables are some of the sturdiest things ever built by the Federation. I know, everyone tells the story about how when the crystalline entity attacked, the only thing left were the picnic tables. No other species has really been able to lock down the picnic table like the Federation. It's the crisscrossy thing, isn't it? The metal crisscrossy thing? You really don't know your picnic table terms, do you?
Transition.
I am Hawkman. So you gotta carry around that mace, right? That doesn't seem very aerodynamic. It's fine. Well, it's a little annoying. Switch weapons then. I want to, but I get letters. I mean, this mace is kind of my signature. I feel like your signature is giant wings and a mask that looks like a hawk, hence Hawkman. If I swap out this mace with anything else, there will be complaints. I don't feel like an actual hawk would choose a mace of all weapons. You're absolutely right, it wouldn't. This was a mistake on my part, but I'm stuck with it.
Nerdyvirgin.com